Welcome to Steps Forward with Ricky, a weekly walking podcast designed to help you take steps forward in your life and your day. So I'm recording this episode after the last episode. So if you're watching this, you're like, wow, she just doesn't change her clothes. But I do. My producer just moved to LA, which is great. And, you know, it's so interesting. I honestly I have no clue. We were just talking. We were just like, well, what are you going to talk about for this episode? And I don't really ever plan. I've never actually planned what I'm ever going to say, which is just wild. And so the last episode was just this rant of me working through something. And I was like thinking about, okay, well, what should I say on this episode? And I was like, fuck it. Let's just press record. Like, I don't really care. I'll figure it out. And that's a good thing. And it kind of contradicts the last episode just in terms of like not being intentional. But I actually operate better like this when I speak. The minute someone gives me a script or tells me that I have to do something, I don't operate like that. I think we all have different gifts, and I think communication is my gift, and we should all know our gifts and embrace them. However, I actually want to talk about a few different things around now that I'm thinking about it. Also, like, my podcast is like my space. And I forget that sometimes, and I think I've forgotten that because I haven't been in a studio in so long because he was living in Michigan when I hit the road, and I love being in the studio. There's just something about it that makes me feel like safe and just like I don't always like getting here, but when I'm here, I'm always appreciative. And I like the whole idea of just having a producer and all that stuff. So I think like it's been hard for me the last few months of just having that motivation and inspiration to like show up because there's a way that I like to show up for this and I haven't had access to it. But now I do. And okay, so just like a few different things. Number one, people keep asking me like why I moved to LA. They're always like, why did you move to LA? And I want to talk about this for a second because it's a really interesting story and it shows you how fast the universe works and like that it really does guide you if you allow it to. And yeah, so you know, I went on my road trip. I walked away from weed September 24th, 8 months ago today. Woo, go Ricky. And 2 weeks later, my ex-boyfriend broke up with me. We were together for almost 2 years. We lived together in Detroit. We were happy, but I think in our hearts, we knew that it wasn't forever. I was kind of a hot mess during that relationship in a lot of ways, mainly because I was smoking all the time and he didn't know. And I was really anxious. I lost my purpose. I lost my path. I just was like just doing marketing and I didn't have this like, I wasn't me. I wasn't speaking anymore. I wasn't mentoring. I was so lost. I never felt that lost in my whole entire life. I also never felt that like happy either. Like that was so fucked up for me. It was like I was happy and not lonely for the first time in my life. And I had never felt more lost in my whole life. And this person that I was with, his name is Josh. And he's wonderful, wonderful. Like just truly wonderful. And I guess this episode is not what I thought it was going to be, whatever. I'm just going to keep talking. He was my best friend in the world. And I always felt really safe with him. I never felt safe ever. Like ever. Not like safe externally. Like I'm talking about internal safety. Like feeling not lonely and feeling okay about myself and feeling like I had something to come home to. Like I didn't know what that felt like until I started dating him. And we fell in love pretty quick and we were together and we did everything together. And I really loved him. I really, really did. And he really, really, really loved me and like loved me for who I was. And I was kind of a hot mess, but like knew me internally. And you know, you meet somebody at a certain age and you have this relationship and then you think like, okay, you're on track to get married and all these things, right? But I had a feeling pretty like 7 months into our relationship. And it wasn't necessarily like a feeling like necessarily about him. It was just like about my life. Like, this is not my path. This isn't the right life for me. Like, that's what I would be thinking. Like, I would try to do all these different things. And I'm like, well, maybe I'll go back to coaching. Maybe I'll do this. Maybe I'll do that. And like, everything felt hard for me and everything felt misaligned for me. And I just remember being like, Josh, why don't we hit the road? Like, why don't we get out of here? I always wanted to leave. Always wanted to leave. Every place I was at, I wanted to leave. Even with this person, I wanted to leave. Like I wanted to leave. I was like, do you want to live in Colorado for 6 months? Like, I was like, I was so stuck, I guess, so stuck and wanting to escape so badly. And it was this mind fuck because for the first time in my life, I wasn't even lonely. So if you think that you're doing something in your life because of something, like you're like, okay, well, maybe when I have money, I won't feel this way. Maybe when I'm in a relationship, I won't do this thing or I won't do that thing. And then like you have all those things and you're still doing the thing that you said you weren't going to do. It's like, it really fucks up your life because then you're just like, shit, what's the problem here? And I wasn't lonely for the first time in my life. And I always thought that's why I smoked. And I always thought that's why I was so unhappy. And I always thought that if I just found my person, I would feel full. And in some ways I did. I didn't feel lonely, which made me feel full. But I felt pretty empty in some ways. And I felt really scared. Have you ever known the truth of something and then just been like so terrified of it? I haven't really talked about my relationship too much of the experience that I had, but I think it's an important experience because this experience of ignoring my truth, of being so terrified to know that I love this person so much that they feel like home to me, but they are not my forever home, was the scariest feeling of my life. Probably scarier than walking away from weed, probably scarier than a lot of things I've done in my life. The truth is really scary. Admitting the truth is scary. Running from the truth is scary. Leaning into it is scary. It's just fucking scary. And people would ask me, like, how's your relationship? And like, truly my relationship was pretty great. So like, I didn't have any much to say on that forefront. But then someone would be like, so do you think you guys are going to get married? And I would literally feel like I was going to puke. And I feel weird talking about this because like, I want everyone to know that like, this is not like because of the person. Like sometimes it's just not meant to be, or sometimes it's just not right during that moment. And sometimes no matter how great the person is or the relationship is, maybe it's timing, maybe something is off. It doesn't really matter. It's just that if you feel something that's not right, it's not right, it's wrong. And that was so heartbreaking for me. Because not only did I feel like my life wasn't mine, I felt like this relationship was going to end one day. And then what? There I would be living in Michigan on my own with what? Like literally with what? That's what I thought. I thought, holy shit, what the fuck am I going to do? Where am I going to live? Who the fuck am I going to be friends with? How am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? Like I just felt like this was it. This was the only thing that I had. And then I was like, well, what if I stop smoking? Then I really don't have anything. I'm real fucked. So we hold on to things that are not aligned because we're so terrified we'll never find whatever we're looking for. And sometimes you don't even know what you're looking for. But let me tell you something right now. The fact that you're looking at all is your answer. And you know, I walked away from weed on September 24th, and then he broke up with me October 10th. That's clearly not a very long time after. I swear my whole entire life, I think the universe did it. I swear to God, I think the universe knew the scariest thing in my entire life after walking away from weed and feeling my feelings was going to be admit the truth of my relationship. And it was like, I got you. I'll do it for you. And so literally, we broke up and he broke up with me. I like opened the door to the conversation, but he broke up with me and it wasn't because I was smoking. None of it had to do with anything. It just was not working and we were both not happy. And it makes me sad when I think about it and I talk about it. But it's the truth. And I don't know. We never know what's going to happen in the future. But right now, like it's just not, it wasn't working. And I sat down at our place and he was like, I'll never forget what he said to me. He said, I love you more than anything. He was like, and if you were a stock, I would bet all of my money on you. He's like, but not unless you go heal. And I remember I like opened my mouth and the words that were going to come out of my mouth were going to be, but can we heal? Can we do it together? And I literally put my hand over my mouth and I was like, okay. Because I knew that this was nobody's journey but mine. Didn't fucking matter if he was Brad Pitt. I mean, like maybe Brad Pitt, but like it didn't matter who he was or what he had to offer. I had to feel good on my own. And it had been the thing that I had been ignoring my whole life. And there I was, 2 weeks sober from marijuana, never been 2 weeks before. The person I loved the most in the home that we lived together that made me feel less lonely than I've ever felt in my life broke up with me. And guess what? My greatest fears came true. They were happening right in front of my eyes. How am I going to live without marijuana? How am I going to live without Josh? How am I going to live without our home in Detroit? I love Detroit. And boom, 2 weeks, my greatest fears. So I move in with my brother and I get into therapy and I started doing the work and things became less scary. I was like, okay, this is scary, but this is not as scary as I thought it was going to be, because when you realize that these scary decisions are actually the decisions that are moving you forward, they do become less scary. They almost become necessary. I almost embraced it. I was like, yeah, let's do this. And then I had a decision to make. You know, at this point, I'm still doing marketing and stuff for other people. And I still felt pretty misaligned, but I felt like the universe was just getting rid of things for me. And I trusted it. And then I was living with my brother for a couple of months. And then I was like, okay, well, you can only live somewhere here for so long. You eventually have to make another decision, right? And that was when I was like, I'm hitting the road. And the reason why I went on the road was because when I looked at my life and I thought about what I wanted, I didn't know what I wanted. And to put roots down when you don't know what you want is not the right thing to do. And I knew for the first time in my life that I wasn't really running either, because there was nowhere fucking to run. I actually felt like staying in Michigan was going to deteriorate my growth because I didn't know what I wanted and I wasn't going to figure it out there. And as long as I wasn't smoking, I didn't really think anything was running away at that point. So I left and then went on the road. And being on the road was the best experience of my entire life. I truly, in my whole life, I never felt more free. I never felt more like me. I never felt like this is the path. Even though you don't know exactly where you're going, you're just like, I'm on the right path. This was how it was supposed to be. Thank you, universe. And how I ended up in LA, fast forward, I was on the road for like almost 3 months and I stopped in LA. And this is where the universe just like loves to come in and just take over. Because if you're doing the right things, and I just started the TikTok and the walking away from weed stuff, and I was just like in flow. And then I came to LA just to stop here to visit my best friend. I was like, well, I'll stay here for like a week with her. And so I got here January 20th. And first of all, I backtrack here. Like I didn't think about living anywhere. I didn't think about going back to Michigan. I honestly thought I was going to stay on the road for like 8 months because I was like, I don't know what else to do. I had no plans. And I got here and I stayed with her for like a week. And then she was like, oh, by the way, I'm going to Miami for 10 days. Do you want my apartment? And I'm like, my first thought is like, yeah, I'm kind of tired of being on the road for a minute. And yeah, I'll save some money and hang out here for 10 days. So it's January 20th, right? And so now it's like February, I don't know, 5th or something. My cousin and my best friend in the whole world with her baby calls me. She's like, I'm coming to LA for 10 days. Stay. I'm like, stay? Like, what do you mean? She's like, stay for 10 days because I haven't seen her in so long. I was like, okay. So there I am. It's January 20th. All of a sudden, it's almost a month later. It's February 8th and I'm still in LA. And I'm like, all right, I got to go. I'm like, I don't know where I'm going, but I got to hit the coast. Like, I got to keep going. And then my best friend calls me. She goes, well, your birthday's in 2 days. Stay for your birthday. We'll go to dinner with all your friends. I was like, what? She goes, stay for your fucking birthday. You're going to be alone on your birthday? I was like, all right, I'll stay on my birthday. And I rented a place in Venice, Marina Del Rey. I stayed for my birthday and I woke up on the beach and I fell in love with the place that I was at. I don't know what it was or why. I can't explain the feeling. And I literally got the apartment 5 days later and I moved to LA. So I don't know why I moved to LA. I don't even know if it was my decision. I just feel like I was guided here because I made the right choices. And then my producer was like, I'm moving to LA. Like 2 months later, I was like, what's happening right now? So the idea is that like we don't always know, but we should follow what feels good. Usually what feels good and it's healthy for us is really where the universe can start to cultivate things for us. So I don't know what's to come for me. I don't know where I'll be and who I'll be and who I'll be with, but I don't really care right now, to be honest with you. I'm just like living my life in LA, and I live 2 seconds from the beach, and I'm happy. And today I'm 8 months clean and 44 episodes of my podcast in, and 94 people that have walked through my Walking Away From Weed program, and thousands of others that have changed their lives. And I don't know if I ever thought I'd ever feel this way. Not perfect, not wanting more, just knowing that like I'll get more. And right now I'm just going to be where I'm at. So I'm out. I got to go. Hope you had a great walk. Drink water. I'll see you on Monday.